Dear student, welcome to my video lesson. In this lesson, let me discuss Chapter-VIII from Don Quixote. So the full title of this work is The Ingenious Gentleman Don Quixote of La Mancha. First, let me introduce the author, Miguel de Cervantes. Basically, he is a Spanish writer, widely regarded as the greatest writer in the Spanish language, and he is one of the world's preeminent novelists. So this novel in discussion, that is Don Quixote, is the first modern novel. In Spanish, its first part was published first time in 1605, and in 1615 the second part was published, and it was later translated into English in 1612 first. So then in part 2 it was published in 1620. So this particular work has got a very interesting plot. So we have Quixote. He is born from a lower section of the society, but at the same time he has a great influence. He used to read a lot of adventurous romances. So what happens? He starts imagining himself as one of the greatest knights. So he is going to become a knight. So like that he imagines. Then he has a person called Sancho Panza, and he is considered himself, or Quixote considers this Sancho Panza as his assistant. And so the two contrasting characters' nature we have to discuss. Don Quixote, one side he is very imaginative, adventurous, and he is bold. Whereas Sancho Panza, young, and he plays the role of his assistant, and Square is the one who is assisting the knight, or a great person, right? So he brings in the reality. So whenever Don Quixote goes off because of his madness and because of his adventurous spirit, so this fellow Sancho Panza brings reality to that. So what can we expect in Chapter-VIII? So the setting of Chapter-VIII is there is a plain land. There are some 30 to 40 windmills. And the characters, Don Quixote, Sancho Panza, and Rocinante. Rocinante is the horse. Then Sancho is traveling by his donkey. So these are the important characters and who are involved in it. In that, besides these, we have a few more that we will discuss. So regarding the theme of this particular one, so misrepresentation of reality. Of course, at the end we will discuss further themes. So misrepresentation of reality, how Don Quixote is not understanding what is reality. So this will be discussed. Now in this chapter, what happens when they are walking on the plain? So they happen to see 30 to 40 windmills. Now Don Quixote finds them as giants. So he considers it as a great opportunity to fight for the justice, and fight for what is good to the society and the country. What is the perception of Don Quixote? He strongly believes that fortune has arranged an adventure for him, and he sees the windmills, and the windmills, we know, so there will be a, like, it is almost looking like the windmills we find near our places, right? So nowadays it is used for generating electricity. In those time, to take water, all these things, it was used mostly. They are placed nearby the rivers. Now they have the leaves, some 30 feet, 40 feet long. Now, seeing that, Don Quixote says like this, look at the textual line. Though you flourish more arms than the giant Briareus, you have to reckon with me. So what he says, okay, you may have a strong and lengthy arm. So Briareus, one of the giants. Now he commends himself with all the heart to his lady Dulcinea. So Dulcinea is his imaginary lady love. So imaginary lady love, and so whenever he feels sad, whenever he needs inspiration, she talks to that. Then we have one more character, his horse, Rosinin. So what happens? He mounts on his horse and he just looks at the windmills and he mistakes them as the giants. So he is getting ready for a fight with the windmills. Then he declares his intent to slay them in a righteous battle. He says, it is the God given opportunity. So I will fight. That is the right. So I am going to serve the country and the people. That is the declaration made by our adventurer Don Quixote. Now Sancho, his squire and assistant, and he comes to him. Then he explains to the master, dear master, they are not giants, they are the windmills. And he tries to control or he tries to discourage Don Quixote from attacking the windmills. So he's the one who shows the practical thing. So the two contrasting characters, Don Quixote, imaginary, whereas Sancho is the person who advocates reality. Now the real attack begins. Don Quixote ignores the warning of Sancho and he mounts on his horse and he takes the lance. Lance, it is a weapon, right? Like spear. And he just gallops, the horse gallops with a lance. He just tries to attack the windmill. So what happened when he goes nearby the windmill? There is a breeze. So far the windmills were not rotating. Now, due to the breeze, the windmill starts rotating. So he imagines that the windmill tries to attack him. So what happens when he goes nearby the windmill with the lance? So the wing of that windmill hits both the horse and Quixote. Both of them are thrown away. So lance breaks. Both the rider and the horse get injured. So the poor horse also gets injured along with Quixote. Now the attack is over. Quixote is on the ground. Now Sancho points out his master's mistake. Now the master says, the fortunes of war, more than any other, are liable to frequent fluctuations. So this thing to be noted. So what he conveys is, so in war, good things and bad things may take place. So we should not worry about it. He says that the same sage Friston who carried off my study and books has turned these giants into mills. So he just finds fault with another magician. So the Friston, he thinks that Friston stole his books. So with the help of those books, he turned these windmills into giants. So the thing is, even after being defeated, he does not realize that he has committed the mistake. This is one of the problems of our great Don Quixote. Now, in this context, Quixote discloses or demonstrates so unshakable belief in chivalry. So he imagines himself as the knight. So he gets ready for the next adventure that shows his strong spirit of adventure. Now Quixote is getting ready for the next adventure. Now Don Quixote recalls how a knight who fought with an oak branch. It so happened that night, so in the fight he lost his spear, and what happens then when he travels, so he gets the first branch of the oak tree and he uses it as a lance and he wins the battle. So why or how Quixote gets this kind of imagination, you know? So these things happen or available in the books. So he is completely immersed in his reading. So he becomes one of the characters from his reading list. Now he continues. So when Sancho points out, dear Lord, you are injured, then he says, a knight will not worry about all these things. So he is getting ready for the next adventure. Now these two. start their journey towards Puerto Lapis, the nearby town. Now, Quixote wants Sancho not to fight knights until dubbed himself. He says that, okay, next time when there is an adventure, you should not come and help me, right? So, unless you are warranted, unless I call you, you should not fight or involve in fight. Now, Sancho also says, okay, no problem, I will not involve in any fight. But at the same time, if there is a problem for my life, I will resist. So that's what he is trying to convey. Now, their conversation reveals differences in bravery, practicality, and chivalric rules. So, Quixote, though he imagines himself as a great adventurer, he follows the rules of the game. So, that is, he wants to be a true knight, a true patriot. Now, the second adventure starts. They happen to see two Benedictine friars, priests. They are coming by tall mules, right? So there is a coach. So as if the two friars, two priests are walking in front with the mules like a donkey, right? Then behind them, it is there is a coach, and they are supported by. So there are some soldiers like people also attendants to the coach. Now the imagination of Don Quixote starts working. So what he believes, so in that coach there is a lady. Yes, of course there is a lady. So that princess is taken away by two magicians. So Quixote misunderstands those friars to two magicians. Now Sancho tells Quixote, dear master, they are not magicians. They are Benedictine friars. They are priests. They are together. They are going somewhere like that. Now Quixote says, no, no. That lady is kidnapped by those magicians. I am going to fight those magicians. Now some textual lines are quoted here. So now directly, without the warning of Sancho, Quixote goes in front of the coach. Then he directly addresses that lady. Your beauty, lady mine, may now dispose of your persons as may be most in accordance with your pleasure, for the pride of your ravishers lies prostrate on the ground. He says that, dear lady, don't worry, I am here to rescue you. So I am here to rescue you. Then he introduces himself. This textual line is important. How he talks about himself. I am called Don Quixote, knight errant. So he doesn't call himself exactly as knight errant, an adventurer and captive to the peerless and beautiful lady Dulcinea del Toboso. He says that I am a Don Quixote, no problem. I am a knight errant, fine. So he is talking about his imaginary girlfriend also. So I have a peerless, beautiful lady, Dulcinea, right? Then he bargains. He tells that lady who is in the coach, okay, I will rescue you, but you have an obligation to serve. So what is that obligation? You have to meet my lady love, that is Dulcinea del Dobaso, and you have to tell about my service. So the point of Don Quixote is he is ready to, or he is going to rescue the princess, and in return, the princess should talk about him to Dulcinea, that is the girlfriend of Quixote. Now, the lady tries to explain, dear Lord, they are not magicians like that, but he doesn't listen. He directly goes and attacks one of the friars, and one friar is falling down. Now, Sanko, what he does, he goes actually normally when somebody wins in battle, from their possession, something will be taken. There is the old custom. So, what Sanko tries, he tries to go take the robe from the friar who fell down. Another friar, with the mule, he runs away. Now, what happens? so there is a commotion. So the two priests almost they are gone. Now the Biscayan confrontation. Now what happens? Biscayan is the city nearby the city. Actually, that lady belongs there. Now he further addresses, "Oh, lady of my soul, Dulcinea, flower of beauty, come to the aid of this your knight, who in fulfilling his obligations to your beauty finds himself in this extreme peril." So during the fight, so there are other soldiers, who are escorting that coach, and he seeks the inspiration from his own lady. A beautiful line written by the author. "Oh, lady of my soul, Dulcinea, flower of beauty, then finds himself in this extreme peril. So you see and assist me in this difficult situation." Now, Don Quixote fights with that Biscayan square. So there is a square escorting that coach. So there is a heated argument and they start fighting. Both of them, they fight fiercely. Then, unfortunately, the story ends in mid battle. So at the end of this chapter, the author, the narrator says that, so we are not sure of who wins. The story ends here. So the adventure ends all of a sudden without further explanation. Dear friends, I hope you enjoyed the story so far. Now, at the beginning of the lesson, I just said this, the conflict between the illusion and reality. So, illusion is represented by Kishon. Reality is represented by Sanko. The entire chapter presents that idea. Right. Now, the second theme that could be chivalric madness. So, what is chivalric madness? So, because of the reading of chivalric romances, Don Quixote thinks too much about himself. He wants to become a knight, so he considers himself knight errant. Knight errant, once the knight is recognized by the king and queen, so that person will be knight, will be knighted. So that person completely becomes. Now he is an aspirant to become a knight. Now chivalric madness, especially people are mad after name. So why they go for this knighthood? Because they'll be celebrated by the people, they'll be praised, ballads will be written. So it is a kind of false recognition. So of course it is a recognition, but people are mad after that. So in this process, many people have lost their life, time, and property. So chivalric madness is well represented by the character Keisha. Next, we have fortune and fate. So, two things. So, in the first incident, that is the windmill incident, so his fate. So, he doesn't have fortune. So, when he goes nearby, for example, if there was no wind, probably he might have hit that windmill and should have come back. But unfortunately, his fate works there. So due to the wind, the windmill rotates, the blades rotates, so he is severely wounded. So that is the misfortune and his fate also. Then there is violence and comedy. So comedy, the entire episode, two episodes are comedies only. So violence, of course, he voluntarily wounds himself in the first incident with the windmill. The second time, he wounds the other persons. So on the whole, dear students, there are two important incidents discussed in this chapter. Number one, windmill episode. In windmill episode, he mistakes the windmills for giants. He attacks them, and he is attacked by the blades of the windmills, and he is wounded. But the important aspect is he does not yield. So that is, he does not accept his defeat. So he convinces Sanko that. So that is part and parcel of chivalric life. So he gets ready and he gets ready for the new adventure. The second incident is the incidents with the Biscayan friars. So the friars, he misunderstands the friars as the magicians who abduct the princess. So it so happens that he fights, wounds them, and the other soldiers are fighting with him. So now suddenly the chapter ends. On the whole, this is a humorous and comic episode that talks about the conflict between the illusion and reality. Illusion is represented by Don Quixote, whereas the reality is represented by Sancho. Sancho is the person every time who brings down Quixote from the imagination to reality. Thank you. All the best. Have a nice day.